What's happening, everyone? Welcome to Airbrush Down Dirty Tricks Friday evening edition. Hope everyone's well. Hope everyone's doing good. I think the stream should be pretty solid. I think we've worked out just about every bug we can do. So we'll have to see. We'll have to find out what's going on. So Facebook actually looks choppy, which is usual, but it looks good here. I'll give Facebook a little time to catch up. If it doesn't, whatever, we'll just bounce that out. So let's make sure we can hear everyone. Well, everyone can hear me well, and the picture should look pretty good. I think I'm a little off camera here. Yeah, we'll center that out. That's a little better. Come on, Bourbon makes a better shirt. Thank you, Gary. Love that shirt. Cheers. Everything's working so far. Man, yeah, Facebook keeps stalling. So per usual, I am going to just kill it so it doesn't kill my bandwidth. Goodbye, Facebook. Looking good, sounding good on the pen. Thank you very much. And we will just look at the chat here. Oops. And I'll get my chat back on. There we go. Chat. Cool. All right. Good. All's good. Let me show you what I'm doing. Explain what's been happening. What's been going on. Yeah. I'll try to see where we're at. So, what we've been doing, past couple weeks we've had issues, and I talked about it where I was having connection issues and things weren't going well, and every time I hit live, it just chugged, and we got all that buffering. Did a whole bunch of stuff. Basically, did a full turn everything off and back on again, did firmware updates, and that seemed to do everything really well. Called Comcast, complained. Magically, it got better, even though they said there was nothing wrong. Yeah. And magically, they just happened to send work crews out last week, well, the other day, for 2 days straight, redoing this whole neighborhood with different connections, and we kept going on and off, on and off. So there was definitely something wrong with my network speed in the area. So now, let's see. We'll do a visual. Let's see what the visual speed of the network. That's Wi-Fi, which isn't bad, on an iPad. So still getting 17. On my computer, I was testing 800, and I was testing 800 download and 36 upload, which should be pretty good. What the Friday, right? Hi, Steve. Hi, Michael. London Gabriel. I didn't go through my list. Atomic, what's going on? Who else we got in the house? Thank you all for popping in and sharing your Friday night. I was going to do last night, which would have ended up probably the same way. What I did so I got my network all sorted. Sorry, I ADD, lost track. And then my computer's been acting funny where like USBs don't work, and then it won't charge, then it will charge. And then, remember on Monday, my computer completely died during the feed, but because the way my hardware is set up, my hardware goes through network, so the feed stays stable for you guys, even though, that's why I couldn't use soundboards and things like that, but the feed was still solid. So it wouldn't charge. I tried all the password resets, I tried all the controller resets, everything you can possibly do to like kind of kickstart it. I kept getting the little results, then I would go back, a little result. And today I thought I had it, and then it just kept failing. So I made an appointment at the Mac store. It was like an hour from when I made it, which is great. So I drove up, got it done. They went through it. Basically, my battery's almost toast. And it's going to be sent out for repair. So I got to back the whole machine up and be without the computer for like 3 or 4 days. So it actually has to go out for repair. But they did take it out back, open it up, clean everything. They did a battery reset, put it all back together. They said you should be fine working on power And it may charge, it may not. The battery's at its end of life. But I got it back home. Wasn't sure the feed was going to happen, and plugged everything in. Everything's working great. Everything's working normal. So fingers crossed we'll get through the feed. And next week I'll do a bunch of stuff. I want to get some Black Friday deals up, and then I'm going to send the computer out for repair. And it should be good. So that's what's been happening. That was up until 5 tonight. 5:30 I got back from the Mac store. And I was just going to just wing it. Do a Wing It Friday. And just do skulls, be quick, and then I got ideas. And it's Thanksgiving next week. So what's Thanksgiving without turkey? So we're doing a Thanksgiving theme. Hence the Thanksgiving turkey feed. But we're not painting a cooked turkey. I don't know. I searched online for a bunch of cool art. This is a piece of flash clip art tattoo that I just kind of converted it and simplified it and brought it down. Let me show you what I'm working on. I couldn't find the original artist on it. It might just be an old piece of clip art. It looks pretty old. It looks kind of like a Japanese tattoo style design. This is what we got. So I know it's not turkey, but it is a turkey vulture. So it's kind of cool. It fits the theme. I'm going to have some fun with it. And just basically freehand it and go. So what I did is I printed it on paper. I've done this trick 1,000 times in the video, so I probably don't need to refresh it, but I'll do it for all the newcomers. And if there's anyone who's watching right now that isn't already a subscriber, we'll get 11,499. So I'd like to see 500. I like round even numbers. I like the 100. So we got to get someone on there. And that being said, I want to also thank my members, because I didn't get a chance to do that last week because my system was down. And I want to thank you to all my down and dirty tricksters, especially all the ones who've been with us almost since the beginning with all the gold skulls. And everyone else behind that is just, we got a lot of red skulls, which are just behind it. And I want to thank everyone for the support. I know it's been on and off the past couple months, and I'm just trying to work it and get it better. But we're getting there. Every time I do new stuff, it needs new requirements. But I want to really thank everyone who's backed the channel, supported, bought panels, said super chats, all that stuff. Like I said, it helps get the feed running, because all the behind the scenes really takes a lot of time. So everything helps. So this is what we got going. So obviously I put up all the brands I like to use and the ones that support this channel and help out in many different ways. Alright, so this was the image. It was a piece of tattoo flash, and I just kind of tweaked it. And it must have been out of a really old book, because the way it was set up, it looked like an old photocopy, yellowed and everything else. So if anyone knows the artist, I definitely give them credit. I had 2 hours prep for this feed, come up with something other than just blowing a bunch of skulls on a panel. So I'm gonna transfer this, and I'm just gonna wing it freehand and kind of make it my own a little bit. So what I did, what I always do, is I use like a 4B and up pencil, and just graphite, and just get the back, and then take a pen. Always use a pen because it's rigid enough, and I go in and just, I've already done it, and just kind of trace around everything, and that's going to leave an impression in the panel. And I don't know if you can see it or not. Let me see if I can zoom in. Yeah. So you can see that pretty nice. I'll give it a little better. And that's it. So, and that's all I'm really going to do. Lay's got the gold skull. So yeah, I think it's a cool idea, and I just want to freehand it out, tweak it, and adjust it, add some textures and effects and things like that in there. Let's talk about the colors I'm using. I'm going to bring up the reference image here for the panel. That's what we're going to be doing. And let's go to the palette. Palette cam. I stole that idea from Steve. Thanks, Steve. And thank you, Mike, for the rotisserie. Love it. Oh, it's frozen. Oh, shoot. Uh-oh, I got paint inside it. There we go. Woo. So we got a fall color palette. It's very fall. It's very warm. And this is the basis of it. We're using 3 Wicked transparents. You can use opaques. You can use anything at this stage. I want a layer, so I want to use transparent. Yep. Maple's been a great supporter. You know, I say sponsors. They're just supporters of the channel. They're not paying, like, I don't have exclusive deals. I don't get paid to use their stuff. I don't get paid all that. But they're on the channel. They share the stuff. They support the channel. And like Coast as well, same thing. And some of the brands will send me replacement parts, and they'll send me some paint to try out. They'll definitely help out in a lot of different ways. But I'm always leery on using the term sponsor, because to me, a sponsor is someone that you get like a monthly residual to use their product. No one's paying me to use their product. I use it, and in turn, they help support the channel. So more supporters than sponsors. So these are the colors. Oops, these are the colors I'm using. We have Wicked Yellow, the 003. We got Wicked Golden Yellow, which I've always loved golden yellow. It's a great color. And Wicked Red Oxide. Okay, that's what I'm using for this. You could use a brown as well. What I did, I added a little bit of white to one side to make a super light color for highlighting. I might actually go a little bit more white in that. And then I added black and a little purple to the red oxide to make a darker color for like detail. And that's it. That's what I got happening there. And yeah. And then my chaos and mess. But we'll get started here. And go. Let's bring up the multicam image. Media. And then I can get rid of that. There we go. So this is what we got going. Anyone any questions? Anyone? Oh, can anybody recommend a plotter? Okay, Cricut's a good quality machine. I like the machine. I hate their software. I hate the way it does files. If you've probably heard me preach about it, I've had a lot of issues. Had to do a bunch of video corrections and how to get it to work well with outside files that are outside the Cricut system. For a desktop one that you could like buy pretty cheap, and you know they're not too big. I like the Cameo Silhouette much better. I think it works more like a traditional plotter. It does work the same as the Cricut, but their software is more open, meaning you could do a lot more with it outside, like including save a file. Once you bring a file into Cricut, it's like locked into their network, and it lives online kind of, and you can't save it out as a Cricut file. That's why all my files have to be adjusted when you bring them into a Cricut, because I can't make the file work perfectly for Cricut. It's weird. Unless I put it on Cricut's network for download, and I hate that. So, but it is a good quality machine. Not dogging the machine at all. I just hate their interface. And, you know, those are only going to be, I think, 9 to 12 inches wide. 12 inches wide, I think. But, yeah, I like the Cameo a lot better of a machine. You're not going to go to Michael's. I mean, they carry it at Michael's and Hobby Lobby sometimes, but, you know, the retail stores mostly are Cricut, you know, slaves. And then if you want to get up to a more commercial grade plotters mainly just do vinyl. You can't do like cardboard and hard stencil material. Whereas the Cricuts and the Cameos you can. Plotters is ways to do it, but it's not really its function. It's mainly for vinyl masking. So I'm a Roland guy when it comes to mainstream plotters or Suma, and GraFx is probably on my third list. And then you can get a pretty inexpensive one for like $400 or $500 on US Cutter as well, which works really great. So that's my plotter push. So let's try to get this zoomed up here. And we're just going to wing it, guys. I mean, this is kind of freestyle. I'm going to push this over just a hair so it looks a little better on that center cam. And we'll zoom in just a little bit there. All right. So, make sure we're working here. There we go. See, it does it to me too. I spray it off the side. It works great. You go for the live and it's delayed just a hair. I'm going to make sure some painted and dry on the tip. And I got to make sure the hole is good. I might not have my tension all the way up. Let's lock that in. Like I said, I put this feed together like this in 2 hours, so. There we go. Good old dagger strokes. Alright, let's start with the face. We'll get that face knocked out and kind of get working. So we got the nose. You know, as far as how-to, this is really just freehand control. Brush control, good paint, mix. I did strain my paint. So I wanted to keep this like a tattoo style. And just start doing line work and some shading. You know, I think this paint could use just a little more reduction. Or actually might need a little lower pressure too. Sometimes higher pressure will actually backflow the paint a little bit, so. Let's put a little bit more in that. Oh, like tattoo style? You mean, or just freehand? Yeah, I could have went a lot nutser if I actually had more than 2 hours to do it. But now I can be one of those guys who go, look guys, oh freehand. I don't use any stencils whatsoever, ever. Sorry, I didn't mean to sound like that, but sometimes when people make those posts, it's like, you can read why they're saying that sometimes. And some people make those posts and be like, man, you should have used some stencils. It's not always a good thing to be total freehand. If I'm going to sound mean here, if it sounds like a 2-year-old did it. Or it looks like a 2-year-old did it. What's going on? I want to give him like a nice, I'll give him a nice, like almost Skeksis tooth. I almost did a Skeksis too. It kind of made him like a little bit more turkey-like instead of demonic-like. But they're basically, the Skeksis are just basically big turkey bird, turkey vulture type creatures anyway. And we tried to buy some of your stencils. Which stencils were sold out? And from where? So I can find out what's happening. So doing stuff like this style, you know, this is kind of t-shirt time, like t-shirty, meaning it's mostly dagger strokes. I'm not working with Pack of Skulls 1, I think it was Coast. Well, Coast is moving in the next month, so they probably weren't bringing in a bunch of inventory. I don't know if it's like a supply issue problem. It's the first I've heard. You can go on to Iwata's site and look up different distributors who carries different products and kind of go from there. I wish I sold them, but I don't have the bandwidth to ship out products and everything else that I got going on. I wish I did. There's a couple products I'm thinking about bringing on and selling. And I'd like to do my own stencils. I got to call Iwata and see how that would be possible. Basically, I think I have to become a certain type of dealer to do it. We'll do that big, like, plume that's around their head. And I think it'd be fun to do a turkey before Thanksgiving, because I'm probably not going to do a feed next week, but I will be releasing a product. We're going to work on releasing the new, like Baroque style engraving masking, and then I'm going to look into trying to get the Celtic Knot one done at the same time. And just remember for next week, all down Dirty Tricksters will get 25% off, but I got I'm going to adjust because I'm going to be doing a Black Friday deal for non-members, so I'm going to increase for that same time. I'm going to increase the discount for all you members of the channel. So all my Down Dirty Tricksters, stay tuned. I'll post up what that's going to be and go from there. Cool thing we just used in Coast. Airbrush remove. No, they were going to, and it was a matter of finding the right spot. I know they had one place that fell through, and you know, just in general, working it out. But they are officially moving now. They made the announcement the other day. So it's gonna be interesting to see what that new spot. Like it's cool, but it's also like, oh, you know, that place was so iconic the way it was, but things have to change. What reasons would cause my paint to pull up when I peel? Purple 400, the shine off, base coat, auto-worn sealer. When you painted the metal, was the metal warmed up or was the metal cold? Like, were you in a nice environment? Or were you in like a cold thing? Because I found if the panel's like cold, even though the shop might be warmed up, that you can get delams. Airbrush kit, what's happening? Diamond spray and black construction paper. White background. Do you go from dark to when you start? Oh, sorry. Start a white background, dark to light. When you're on a white background, depends on the image. It's not a one rule. You have to go dark to light or light to dark. On white, I usually build up to dark. So I start with, like, I might start darker colors, but I don't flood them in black. Like, I tone them slowly till I go to the darker color. So I go from light to dark. But meaning I'm still using, like, I'm not starting with white, obviously, but I don't go, like, solid black. Like this, I'm starting in the mid-tone of this brown, and I'm going to then add darker tones but I have some bright yellows and some whitish yellows I'm going to tone in first and kind of push and pull. So it really comes down to that. It was a goalie mask. I haven't had any issues with it sticking to goalie mask, especially the sealer. 400, the shine off, base coat with white autoborne sealer. Is the autoborne sealer peeling off the helmet, Rob? Yeah, bigger store. In California, regulations and rules and where they're at is just so hard to operate and paint right in that downtown area now. And it's just, so they need something a little bit better. I don't know if it's bad paint. What'd you reduce it with? Did you add any chemicals to it other than reducer? Trees get trees grit, cheese grits and NyQuil. What's going on, man? Still my favorite name. One of my favorite names in the group. Gobble gobble. Yep. I got a feeling this one would be a little bit more screechy than gobble gobble. But I almost did it just a straight up like Tom the Turkey. Then I'm like, a little vulture-y thing would be a little cooler, I think. Oh, actually, that could be a good time to do it right around after the holidays and stuff, and do those vector classes. Now, if I can keep my computer working, definitely got to get that going. My goal for this year is obviously that, and getting the tabletop gaming site rocking. The cool thing about doing freehand stuff like this, especially for you guys, if you ever do like trade shows and stuff like that, this is the type of stuff you want to be painting live. When I say that, you never want to get too complicated with your live paintings. Like something that's got a lot of, I don't mean complicated as far as like imagery. Technical, that's got a lot of masking and taping and overlayings and micro little things, and because at a show you're trying to grab attention, so bold freehand designs like this where people can see things happening relatively quickly is great. And the other thing about it is you can start with the mid-tone and you can just keep working the same painting and making it a little better and adding more detail, so every time someone might come by they can actually see the change happen. But if you're talking to people, you can seem like you're doing a lot. Like, you can't tell what I'm doing, and it just looks like I'm painting. So you can just kind of like socialize and get people's attention. That's why things like this are really good freehand. And then of course, designs like this, you get the, oh man, you should do tattoos. Do you do tattoos? No. Can you draw tattoos? Yes. Will you? No. Why? Because that's usually how the conversation goes for me. That disabled turkey. That's funny. I am getting a little delay in this. I might have a little gummy that's going on in the fluid nozzle. Here we go. Why? 'Cause no. It's just, yep. It's just, nope. I've done them before. They're a nightmare to deal with. Everyone's like, oh, I want your style. Draw something really cool. I'm like, well, the tattoo artist doesn't want to draw my style. The tattooist wants to do his. So I tell them, just go to a good tattoo artist that can both draw and let them do their magic. The only ones I've done them for is like guys I've painted bikes for and they wanted like it to look like the same style as their bike. But even that's like, oh, but for the tattoo, can you tweak it? Can you maybe like a change here? Can you do this? I'm like, you know how many hours this is taking? And then you tell them how much it's going to be because you spent 4 hours drawing it. And they're like, oh, you're not going to do it for like $50? Hell no. I'm sure many of us here can relate to that. And for you new guys, you'll learn. It'll happen. Well, they don't share info unless you like work with them. Because the tattoo industry is really, there's a lot to it that requires super dedication, learning all the skin, learning all the tricks. So I understand on the tattoo industry, the apprentice kind of mentality of how it goes. And there's also guys in this world that don't share, just like tattoo artists. And sometimes they're not protecting any super secret. They just really don't want to sit there and train you. And some guys are just like, A, you should be an apprentice, so I'm not going to give you any info. Or that's how they learn, so they don't want to do it. And some aren't protecting any grand secret. They just don't want to help. So the cool thing is this, I can keep moving around and these feathers are established enough where they look pretty cool and I can just keep adding and shading to them, but I don't need to spend a ton of time right there. Thank you, sir. Much, much appreciated. And give another little ding. Oh, Rob, thank you. That's your first super chat. Really, really appreciate it, man. Like I said, guys, that stuff helps, especially this time of year. I know everyone's strapped. Things get tighter, so I really appreciate it now. Rob, what's happening? Calvin, Rob, what's going on? Yeah, everything's worked. Facebook was being a little glitchy, so I just killed it because I didn't want to affect here. So if you want, share on Facebook that we are live over here and post a link and get people off that and onto here so they get a better connection. Like, I'm going to crispen up these shadows using like my pocket graphs and stuff, but I'm just freehanding them in. Because what I'll do after, I'll come in with like pocket graphics like this, and then I can make this edge crisper, or I can go in and I could make, I could go these middles and go through and just, let me go switch to top down and zoom in so you can see. So like, I can go in and I can hit this, and then go over and do this one, and just start popping them out with a little loose edge, and see it just starts to improve it. I can flip around the other side, or I can start from the bottom and I can work my way up and just kind of make it crisper. But this, like I said, this is the mid, and I'll start refining darker as I go. So I can just shade that, and this is kind of the setup for everything else. First dump of snow yesterday. Oof! So 10 to 15 centimeters, so what's that in inches? So it's, hold on. What is it? 5 millimeters is an eighth. I don't know. I can do it in my head. Do I need to put my lime line tape back in the bag if I'm not using it? The tape doesn't dry out. It'll keep, if it falls, it'll keep it cleaner. But the tape should not dry out. If it's dried out, it's not good tape. But the lime line is manufactured, I know, by the same company that does J-tape. Well, the same company that manufactures J-tape. So I know it's a quality product. I just haven't used it because I use all FBS, but it's similar. Okay, 2.5 centimeters an inch, which would be 25 millimeters per inch, roughly. Not exactly. I'm getting a little bit better at it with my laser cutter and my 3D printer, since most things are done in millimeters. Which millimeters is such a better way when you're doing fine-tuning machining. Inches are just too sloppy. What's FBS? Lime line's not FBS. That I can tell you with 150% certainty. crisper. The turducken. Oh, yeah. I use all FBS Fine Line. I love their stuff. But yeah, like all that fine line tape, I mean, you get edges dirty, they're not clean. So yeah, it's not a bad idea to put it in the package. Or you get one of those tape things which keep it from getting dirty. Let's put a little... We haven't brought this guy out in a while. Let's see. And since I got to get back on my laser cutter and finish dialing them in for these, we're going to put just a little bit of texture in here. You see how fast that adds to it. Just gives it a little something. Nice and easy. Yeah. Oh, that's not a bad idea, the old CD cases. Or DVD cases. That's a really good idea, actually. I just hang them on a hook. What do you got going on tomorrow morning, Michael? Listen, this is all still with that one color. I'm doing a crazy background on my Chevelle painting. Oh, cool. Well, if you have a link for the channel, feel free to put it up. If you have a link for the video specifically, feel free to put it up. I still don't know. It was scary, but it was calculated. And I kind of did a slow transition. So before I went full-time, I was, part of it happened organically, meaning it kind of had no choice to a point. I used to run and work for Sears Automotive Centers. I used to be there. I used to work in management. I was a salesman for years. I used to do outside sales. And then I did store management and then cleanup management, which made into failing stores and kind of helped rework them and make them a little profitable, make it more profitable and more, just better places to work. And I always painted on the side, and I kind of kept it as a side gig. And I'd get more and more of it, and I had a vinyl shop, a sign shop I worked for that I did some steady work for here and there. And it was more side money. And I always wanted to venture off my own, and this was pre-kid, and me and Crystal were together. We weren't married yet. We didn't have a house or any of that stuff. So I think it was in end of '99 we talked about the payroll structure and how bonuses were going to be dealt with for Sears. And basically I was going to lose probably $20,000 to $30,000 a year in pay because of the way the bonus structures were going to now work. It was just a bad deal. And we all know what happened with Sears eventually anyways, so if I stayed there too long, it wouldn't have been good for me either. So, let me switch up to this. So, when they did that, I knew what I was going to be losing. I had some steady work. I had people keep asking me. The sign shop I work with had some extra space, so what I did is I made a deal with them. I used like a bench in a corner of their shop to airbrush and do motorcycle work and paint, because I already painted there anyway once in a while. So I got my own space, my own kind of sign on the door, And the deal was I'd give them at least 20 hours a week helping them around the shop, do sign making, neon repairs, neon charging, just $10 an hour, you know, base pay. That was it. Give them 20 hours. And then any big jobs I did, I gave her a percentage of. And that was the deal. So at least I had a little stability, but there was risk. But it was enough to kind of keep going. And then just kind of built from there. So the first few years I had a secondary job. Then I did on-site auto body repair where I fixed cars at dealerships for some side money and painted more bikes and more cars and just started building my name and reputation. And it's scary. It's still scary. You know, you have good years and bad. A lot of planning goes into it. Regulations, it can be a lot to do with it. And I'd say it's harder now. You have more reach now as an artist because you can reach a million people, whereas when I started, you were reaching your area, and that was it. The biggest reach I got was I'd go to car shows and bike shows and get different parts of the state and New Hampshire and, you know, different states. It just kind of built a reputation, and that's what you got. And then the internet came along, and you learned how to do that. It's a blessing and a curse now because as a new painter, you have way more reach, but so do everyone else. So now your competition goes from all the local painters in your area. Whether they're friends or not, it's still competitive in a way, who gets what work, because there's only a finite amount. When you start adding internet and be able to travel, you start getting more of it. So it's a balance. You got to have multiple streams of revenue, not just airbrushing one item or one style. You got to have other stuff going on. So that's how I got into it and kind of eased into it. I was never let's go take a big loan out and build a shop, and I never did that. I just slowly, incrementally built it and built my brand reputation along the way. So if you got questions, feel free to message me privately. We can talk a little bit more about it and give you some game plans and things like that. But I had vinyl. You know, I had my custom paint. When I left the sign shop, one of my own on my own, because I did that after I left that sign shop space. Now I also knew how to do vinyl lettering and window lettering and stickers and vehicle stuff. So I was an airbrush artist, custom painter, mainly on the airbrush side and art side, but I also did some sign work and vehicle lettering and window lettering. So I always had that too. So I had both. And I used to use body shops. And then I got a little bit bigger, and had a shop with booth and just basically kind of worked it from there. So it's a process. It just depends how you want to go and what you want to do. But if you have any questions, feel free to give me a buzz. Be happy to talk to you on it. Hope that helped. Okay, cool. I kind of like this guy, like I said at the beginning of the video. It reminds me of Skeksis a little bit. Reminds me a little bit of the Crow from Secret and Nim, which is always a favorite movie of mine, and Don DeLuise as the Crow is amazing. And maybe it's a little bit more like, kind of like the Dodo Bird from Warner Brothers cartoons, which was awesome. Doop 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 doop. Anytime, man. But the rule of thumb is it's always scary. And it's going to be scary. It always will be. There's always going to be up and down. And the best you can do is have some plans laid and things ready to execute. And just don't over tax yourself too much. Trying to get more info in the vinyl business. What are you trying to do in the vinyl business? Like, what's your goal? Because vinyl business nowadays is a really broad business. There's a lot of different paths to do. Again, the cool thing with this painting is if you're at a show doing stuff, you can just sit and pick. I can wrap this painting up in 2 hours, or I can spend an entire weekend at a show just adding details to this painting, and people will keep coming and watching it. And you can just kind of work it and work it. That's something I learned back in the t-shirt days, because I did t-shirt work when I was younger. Yeah, that's where I started, was in t-shirts. So in the early 90s, I was at the malls doing t-shirts, stuff like that. Well, so vinyl business, is one of my streams of income, meaning I use vinyl in custom paint, obviously. But I have the cutter, so why not do some local vehicle lettering? Why not do local shop windows and signs, glass lettering, things like that? Used to use the shop machines. Yeah, I did the same thing. That's how I started, and I got my own. So that's one vinyl business you can add. And it can become pretty lucrative. Like, you get a couple good accounts. Like, I have the local fire department, the local fire and police department. They're good for a couple vehicles a year, but if you really go hard into it, you could do a lot. The issue now is a vinyl business is also a lot with vinyl wrap is associated, or they want printed vinyl. Full color, crazy printed vinyl stuff. That's a whole different game I never want to get into. So I just stayed away. So I'll still do like old school vinyl, color on color application on vehicles. People still like it. It's very affordable. It's very quick. It's much more durable than like printed vinyl. It just, like I said, depends what part you want to get into. But that's, like I said, that's one of the streams I work on. Because it's just organic. I have it. I have the machine. Why not do it? And you can also like make stickers, go to fairs, do a whole bunch of stuff with just that. Just like I got a laser cutter, so I'm doing more than just stencils with it. Like now I'm cutting like tabletop wood stuff. I'm doing a whole bunch of stuff with that. That's going to be another plan. And then my other revenue stream is this and teaching. When I do workshops and stuff like that, so. If you want to see, I didn't draw that all the way out. Yeah, that just goes off the page, okay. Gary, what's going on, man? You see how fast we worked out most. This was under an hour. Most of it's here. And depending on how much I want to work it, I can just keep adding. Because here, I'm going to get this done. Then I'm going to add some of this golden yellow in. Or I'll probably add a little bit of the bright yellow. Like the eyes and tone. And then we'll bring in the darks and stuff like that. You're never going to find just a teacher in your area. It's really, never going to happen unless you're lucky. The lucky thing is you have teachers anywhere now. When we started in the 80s and 90s, there was, sorry to date myself, there was no internet. So I'm going to sound like the old guy going, in my day. But it's true. We had Airbrush Action Magazine was pretty much it. You had a couple old books on custom painting vans in Barnes & Noble. And that was it. So you had to kind of find someone local to kind of gleam off of. But now, in this day and age, You don't need a teacher in your area. You have someone like me online. I do all these how-tos, and you can follow along and download the vectors and support the channel like that. We do workshops here and there. We used to do more, but they haven't really come back because of the cost of doing them. But I think they will come back. And you'd be surprised. Look around. You might find some stuff in your area that you didn't know existed. Different art colleges and different vocational schools might offer things. And hell, man, if I had the opportunity, I'd travel. You know, like I offer some private sessions from time to time. A lot of artists do, where you can set something up. Video one-on-ones we can do. It's all possible. It all costs, but that's all stuff you can definitely do. When I started, and I think Steve is still here. Yep, he's still here. Yeah, when we started back in the 80s, us old men, well, at least I'm old, Steve's young at heart. There was the more you didn't share info, where you had a classical approach to art and airbrush, illustration, then things like that. Yeah, the getaways were a blast. It just... and the circus was a blast, but they're just too expensive to put on right now in that volume and that size. To do a 4 or 5 day class, you'd have to spend, as a student, you'd probably be at an $800 to $1,000 range minimum for the class to do a 5 day class because of the way the hotels and venues cost right now. Oh, nice. That's cool, Mike. Yeah, you can always be a teacher. Immature, maybe. Oh, no, so my point was, we started teaching early on, but prior to that, it was, yeah, you just really had to learn from traditional approaches and just practice. No, I know I'm not old. I'm 50. I'm 50 as well. But compared to, like, when you were learning this as a kid, there was no resources. Oh, that's my point. When me and Steve were younger, and probably learning this, you were probably, I think I've said this before, if you were dedicated to it, you wanted to practice, and you wanted to find some books and resources, and maybe there's a guy painting t-shirts, and maybe you can glean a little info here and there, you could probably get good within 2 to 4 years if you practice in sellable. It's like learning an instrument. To get what I call sellable, yeah, we did ABU, we lost money every year. The circus never made it a dime. Rob never profited from the circus once. By the time he took care of everyone, paid us all instructors, took care of the food, and the extra drinks for everyone, and the water, and the this, and the that, and giving some people a comp here and there who, you know, couldn't afford the full thing, you let them in for a couple $100 less, all that stuff to the end, Rob never made a dime by the time it was done. But he did a lot of them, and the sponsors helped out a lot to keep it going. You know, so yeah, and ABU was the same. The circuses did really well, but the Airbrush Action Getaways did really well, but also because he had the magazine as a mechanism for advertising, so he didn't have to pay for it, meaning it's his own mag. It just drew a lot of people in, so he had a great system, and he was one of the originators of it. So Airbrush Action Getaways always did pretty well, but they also sold a ton while you were there. And he had deals with the hotels, so like he might have gotten a little kick off each person's room night back to them. So there was ways to do it, but that all changed too. And then the rendezvous were good too, because that was also held at Dave's store, where he's already renting, he's already there, and he could sell all this stuff. When you rent a hotel, now you're bringing all the equipment, you're transporting, you need a lot of help to do it and move it and do everything. So they just get crazy. The expenses you burn through, you don't even realize how much paper towels and water you go through at one of those events. But I was saying, so when we started, you could learn, and you could probably get sellable, meaning quality of work that was decent, 2 to 4 years of practice, depending on aptitude and what your level was, what you're going for. Now, if you have dedication, you can find enough resources and how-tos and tips and tricks and downloads and vectors and all the stuff that we've all offered and we've all made. You could, 6 months to a year, you could be up and running. You have to want it, you have to hunt for it, but the info's there for you to do it. When we started, you had to just scrape and find it. And products weren't really as specifically made for us then. It was made for either automotive spraying. It was really Fraser and Coast that brought House of Color to the custom painting forefront. They weren't the only ones that was custom painting, but they mainstreamed it, just like Lavallee mainstreamed and made real fire popular in the technique. He made it happen, So yeah, you got a lot to work with. So we lost money every you. And even us instructors lost money. Everyone's like, "Oh, you get paid to be here." Yeah, we get paid to be here, and it's fun, and we get to drink and hang out there. We mainly went because we got to hang out with each other, like me, Steve, and Nub, and Mike Learn, and Vince Good. It was cool just to go hang with someone for a week. And did we get a paycheck at the end of it? Yeah, we did, but it wasn't what we would make at our shop for the week. So we teach for 5 days. We're probably making half of what we'd make on our own shops and studios, but we do it because we enjoy doing it. And what comes out of it. Relationships come out of it. Brands, products, different artists. Like, I still have friends that we met in ABU. Customers, clients. So, yeah. And the other thing is they almost have to be tied to events. Like, so I'm going to be teaching... Hey, Dan. Yep. I'm going to be teaching a seminar in March in Milwaukee is the next one I'm doing. But that's on airbrushing and tabletop mini painting, Warhammer, Dungeons & Dragons type model figure painting type stuff. So that's the next thing I got coming up other than what we're doing here. So obviously next week's live feed is not going to happen on Thursday because Thursday is Thanksgiving, and I love all you guys, but I'm not spending my Thanksgiving setting up a live feed. I'll see if I can work something maybe Tuesday or Wednesday, as long as the computer keeps doing well, which it's doing well now. Yeah, that was really the best part about it, the events. And that's why, like, that's one of the main draws to going to SEMA. Like, I don't get paid to be at SEMA. I'll rep for a company, give them like 3 or 4 hours a day and get my hotel covered or something like that. But we're not getting paid our, like, hourly rate to perform and all that. But I do it because it's great to see everyone. There is some instruction. There is a lot of networking. And just, yeah, you get to... I call it my work party. My holiday work party, because we don't have... I've worked for myself for 24 years. So I don't have, like, work friends to go, like, hang out with daily or talk to. So it's nice to, like, go to these shows and get together with everyone. Oh, that'd be cool, man. Yeah, sometimes it's just fun to just jam it out. And that was... When I go to SEMA, I don't overplan my pieces, and I don't bring a lot of preset stuff. I just like to wing stuff. And just... It's fun to paint. It's no pressure. You can kind of start and stop whenever you want. And this is just... you came in late. I'm just using illustration. Not illustration. I'm just using... regular Wicked Transparent. Just these 3 colors. And right now, all I've used is this. I look forward to that, Steve. Maybe what I'll do, if I do a feed next week, maybe I'll piggyback off you on Monday evening after you're done, and I'll just keep rolling on this and get to the next stage. Maybe tonight I'll just do this brown, and then we'll do the rest of it on Monday and finish it up and kind of roll it in. I would like to maybe not put much yellow in here, but like do a bright yellow friggin' background like sunset and really punch up the yellow and white like clouds back there, and then make this guy darker, maybe with a bright yellow eye or something like that. Let me know what you guys think of that. Rob, have a good one, man. If I don't talk to you, have a great Thanksgiving. And like I said, if you want to talk privately, give me a message. We'll set up a call about some business stuff or what to look out for, just how to kind of get started and some pitfalls to watch out for. Feel free to give me a buzz. Thanks for the super chat. I really appreciate it. All right, let's get these legs. I wish I had the Dodo Bird music soundtrack from Warner Brothers. Just every once in a while pop it in. Yeah. Get down to his little feet. We'll zoom in here. So just dagger stroking. I'm going to make this claw solid black. So we'll get those really dark. In here, yeah, we'll fill this kind of plume in here, and really it's going to be much darker. So now I gotta push this a little darker than this, and that's where the black will come in, like this area here, because the red oxide's only going to get so dark. But I want this by getting that kind of the fur around the legs established. It'll let this front claw pop out more. And then this one is the secondary. It's the rear. It's his right claw. Foot heading down. Calvin Jones, thank you so much. Much, much appreciated. The sound effects sound better now too, didn't they? They finally got my soundboard plumbed in directly. Instead of before, it was going through, it was just my computer speakers, and then it was going through the mic. Now I have it hardlined in, so it should sound a little bit better. Yeah, I think now that the computer's kind of working and seems like it's going to work, I think it would be cool to piggyback off you, Steve. And you finish up your feed around 8, right? Usually between 7:30 and 8. So maybe what we'll do is, yeah, I'll come in right after you. And it'll be like Freehand Monday. We'll start Freehand Friday and then go to Monday. Like I said, I just thought about this and kind of started the design work up based on this clip art, tattoo flash art. But this claw down here, oh, that's what's happening there. Oh no, that's the tree goes down, blah, 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 and the foot, and yeah, just figuring it out and kind of. So I might try to make this claw come out. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. This claw is gonna come down here, and then I'm gonna let it hook. Ooh, that blade's bent. Yeah. Get rid of that. New blades, new blades. Where are my blades at? There we go. Yeah, it has been a long, crazy day with that whole computer problem. I literally at 3:30 was like, shoot. No, 2:30, and then I was able to get a Mac appointment. So I drove to Manchester, New Hampshire, like an hour away. Had them service it, work on it, do what they could, and I was able to get back in time to get this done. So it almost didn't happen. But I've missed so many feeds lately. I just didn't want to let you guys down. So yeah, I'm gonna let that claw go over. This one comes out like this and comes up like this, and then down to the claw, foot, and then claw. Just kidding. I just kind of won that a little bit. Yeah. Okay. Claw. Toe. Go up. Little. The knuckles. And the other one comes up like this. That knuckle. And that claw will go right off. And then his other one will come out and duck underneath the tape. And then there'll be a tree branch like coming up here like this. We'll do the Bob Ross. You might see the big tree. I almost sounded like the old German guy. The old Mighty Brush. Steve, what was his name? The guy that was on before Bob Ross. Gary Shees! Thank you, sir. Yeah, we'll continue this on... I think we'll continue this on Monday. It'll be kind of cool. It'll give me a chance to kind of refine it a little bit, too. Maybe I'll cut some silhouettes of, like, turkey vultures and have them in the background. Have them flying around, because I think that would be really cool. I think that's coming along smashingly. Get the tree, like I said, tree in here. Yeah, it would be cool to have a few background flying. Kind of make it a two-parter. And that way I can get another feed in. Yeah, Freehand Monday. Oh, you got the cowbell, thanks. Yeah, I forgot all you members, you have your own, like, icons you can use. And I'm going to draw some more of those. So for all my lovely supporters here, thank you all for your monthly support. It goes a long way. I know $3 doesn't sound like much, And right now you're still getting that percentage off on the store. And come Monday, I should have a new... There's going to be a bigger discount for all you guys for Black Friday weekend and Cyber Monday. And I have 2 new vector downloads coming out after that. So yeah, that'll be cool. Yeah, so I'm going to try, like I said, I'm going to try to get those Celtic knots out. I'm going to try to get the floral engraving, like Baroque style engraving vectors done. And those are going to be vectors, as well as I have one that works as a brush in Photoshop. In Illustrator, you can just draw a path and go and put an engraving whole swirl just along that path. And you can actually move the path. Just like my biomechanical brush set, you can draw a line, attach the brush, and then you could go stroke weight bigger or smaller and actually perspective it in and out, and then you expand it. There's a whole video on how to do it. So it's more than just like straight line vectors. So I'm going to have that coming out. I don't know if the Celtic knot one never works too well. It gets too jumbled, but the engraving one does. Steve Scott has an extra finger now too. What? I don't know what you're talking about. We got 9:18. I think we'll wrap this up at 9:30 tonight. I'm feeling in the gaming mood. I'm gonna hop back on Fallout 76 tonight. Steve, if you're around, let me know. Yeah, that'll just kick back. But this has been pretty productive for starting at 5 o'clock with no idea what I was going to paint. Because aside from figuring out the design, figuring out the paint, sizing it, getting paint mixed, doing that, I got to do the graphic for the side, change the swirling graphics, update all the feeds. Mr. Leahy knows. Oh, my trophy. Yeah. Y'all, you guys see that? This is my favorite thing from SEMA. One of my favorite things is my prize, the trigger finger from the Trigger Finger Showdown with Car Rep. My 15-minute painting was picked, and this was the trophy, which was just awesome. I still got to make a stand for it. And I gotta maybe try to figure out. Here's how big it is. It's not small. I gotta try to figure out how to like mount it to the wall or something, like, and have it back here. Maybe yeah, that would look cool actually. So I might do that. We gotta figure that out. But here's your finger. Boop. There, get me off this. There we go. All right. So before I get too far, the structure's all done. I'm going to figure out the tree. There's going to be a lot of detail work in here. Let me take a little bit of Mendez texture effects. Like I said, we'll put a little bit. I still love this trick for doing fur. Take Gerald's and just move it as you paint, and you'll get a really cool texture. And obviously my swirl template builds a nice quick. Alright, so I'm going to dump this for now. Whole painting was done with like a quarter of that fill. Let's do the dark, which is the same red oxide and with like 5% black. 5% black, 5% purple added to it. That same color. So now I get a nice dark tone. So now, once this mid-tone is established, this is good for the light-dark topic. Like I said, I could have started with black or this dark color, but then I'm forced to like work with that, where it's easier to get a mid-tone. Then I can decide what gets toned brighter, what might get erased, because I can go through. Here's the eraser. Like I could go through with the eraser before I do the dark, and like right here, Let's zoom in a little bit and we'll focus that up. So like if I want to get the edge of these feathers or like the little spines, I could just come in and really just, if I wanted to do like a lot of feather detail, I could do that before I do all the drop shadows. Just how much I want to do. If you don't have that, yeah, you could always do the scraping. I could always take this and bring out these edges. It just depends when you want to do it, if you want to do it. It's not a have to, but these feathers I could go like this. You could spend all day doing this if you want, but for me it comes down to, I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel. I'm trying to make a cool painting someone likes to buy, or it's on a motorcycle. And what can it read from a distance or to show? And what's that customer's budget? So that does play a lot into this. But the dark, now you can see I can go in and I can like shadow under here and really kind of push that depth. But I really want to push this, so that's where I'm going to get more here. Just softly kind of push that out. Maybe take a texture effects, make it a little quicker and easier. And what that'll do, once we get a little better up here, and kind of mid-tone it, this claw will kind of establish more. But if you look back to this, now you can see that separation a lot better. It starts to form. Now you can tell that's the leg coming down. And if you want to soften, you could get a little graphic-y and do kind of a soft edge like that. The way the feathers kind of come down. But what I did is I didn't put it right against, I just kind of lifted it off a little bit. You can see that just that little bit adds that much. So now I can go and dial that feather and I can just keep working it up. So it really comes down to how much I want to work it. Does this customer, this is what I think, I'll give you a little quick business practice for this style of painting, especially in the automotive world. Because remember, in the automotive world, part of your budget is prep, clear, everything else goes in it. So what's this customer expectation of the final finish? What's his budget? What's your hourly rate? And do I have enough budget and time to spend 4 hours on feathers? Or do I only have enough time for 2 hours? Or do I have enough time for 1? How cool can I make it look in that 1 hour for the guy? And will he be happy? If I can achieve that, all good. Sell it, move on to the next job. Everyone's happy. Bob's your uncle. Everything's good. Or the customer's got a reasonable budget. I can really make it look. I can spend another hour or 2 on it. Maybe a day. Maybe I got enough budget. I can spend an entire day on this one panel, 8 hours, and really bring it home and make it amazing. But if I only have 2 hour budget, I'm going to give that best 2 hour quality look, and it's still going to look like a completed painting in 2 hours. It's just not going to be as crazy detailed, but it's still going to look complete and well done. That's the key. The analogy I use is like, for any homeowner, you can do a kitchen. Well, you can redo a kitchen with an $8,000 budget, a $20,000 budget, a $50,000 budget, in the same space, in the same configuration. It comes down to the finish quality. It comes down, do you want Formica or granite? Do you want travertine tiles or linoleum? Do you want handcrafted wood cabinets or Home Depot cheapo special. The kitchen still gets done, and as long as it's quality and as long as it's clean, it still looks good for the budget. But you don't get granite, travertine, and perfection hand-carved cabinets with hand-forged, drawer pulls for the $8,000 budget. But you still get a quality job, and that's always how I've looked at it. I ask people what they want, and I usually ask what they're willing to spend. They're like, "Oh, what could you do?" I'm like, "Well," I said, "I could do your same idea for $2,000, for $3,000, for $5,000, for $10,000. How crazy do you want it?" And if they still don't get it, I use that analogy. It's like getting a custom kitchen done. And if guys have tattoos on their arms, that's an even easier one. It's like, hey, it's like sitting in the chair. The longer you sit in the chair, the more detail you get, and the more it costs you. See how that little bit just starts to pull. And it starts to frame him out. Now I can start seeing his neck versus the fur. I can play with the airbrush, or I can thin the paint down a little bit. But I can make this plume now a little more detailed. And really just push and pull. This is all that initial work of all this line work. For me, that's the hard part. That's the work. Okay? And that gets the image established. Now it's playtime. Now it's push-pull. Now it's what can I do with it? How much texture can I get into it? How much shading can I get into it? Like this eye, I want to get really dark around the eye. To see if you get really dark around that eye, it makes it look more sinister now. See what I mean? Just it gets a better pop, especially from a distance. We can do little warts on his head. We can do fur. Oh yeah, I had a guy drop off a bike today where he's pretty much down for anything. The budget's very reasonable. I can do, especially for what we're going to be painting, and I can do a lot for that. You don't always get those customers, and they're not. They don't settle for, you paid all this money and I'm really still only giving you 2 hours of work. They know the customers willing to spend the money usually understand what their money gets them and value your work to give it to them. And those are the best customers. If they value your work and your craftsmanship, and they'll pay and they'll be happy to pay it. Like that one I just finished with the Dennis the Menace. I've never met the customer who's really in the shop, but he was fairly indecisive, a little tricky to work with. Rarely knew what he wanted to a point, but then it would change. And we got it narrowed down, and then I was a little nervous, like, is he gonna like it? He's gonna be super picky because he seems really a little difficult. But I sent him the pictures and he liked it and loved it. He said, "Oh, that's great, it's perfect, I love it." I said, "Oh, you want me to send you some videos to make sure you really like it before I commit to clear?" He was like, "No, man, I'm literally in tears at how well this came out. It's exactly what I've been looking for years, and you finally. I'm glad I found you to pull it off." And that was a cartoon character, but it was done the way he wanted it done. And he paid all the money to have that done just the way he wanted it. So yeah, see how now it starts getting definition. I want to get this beak established really dark. And give you a sneak peek at one of the colors we're going to do. Yeah, that needs a little Tommy Ham texture. Look at that, just a little bit. I'll zoom in on that so you can see it. See that nice little doop 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 doop. Yeah, that looks cool. It's not a bad start. Not a bad start for an hour and a half. And add a little bit. Yeah, that looks cool. Look at that. I'll make this eye a little cleaner, and you'll find out why in a second. Just want to get rid of that little bit of overspray. And then it has to have I think there's still a little brown mixed in that. It's alright. We'll clean that up. We'll add a little grit to it. James Cully, what's happening? A zombie spit stencil. Like pretty much you could use. Oh, I don't have the zombie spit one. I got Gerald's splatter one. Oh, I might have Tommy's other one too, actually. That might be in the shop though. Let me try. I want that yellow. I think I had a little bit of that black still mixed in with that. There we go. Nice bright yellow. Yeah, so, and we'll do that yellow. We'll do like a yellowish background here and really start to pop. Maybe I'll mask off him quick. I'll make it just a quick paper mask and really get a yellow bright, whoops, background for it. I think it will be kind of cool. And just, you know, to keep him all in the browns in this red oxide, and then background like fiery red, like fall color, and some clouds and stuff, and maybe some silhouettes of turkey vultures back there. And the only thing yellow here will be his eyes and maybe a little bit of his things. I think it's cool. I think it's not a bad start. Very pleased we were able to get through a nice steady feed with no problems and good sound effects, and all my stuff was working with all the sponsors and all that stuff, and everyone we work with. Whoops. Oh, well, we didn't use 8 tape, so I don't need that. And then, thank you again to everyone. Really appreciate it. Let's go here. It's 9:30. It's Friday. It's been a long day. It's been a great feed. I'm glad everything's working. Cameras and pictures look better. Everything is really looking good. Everything's dialed in. Internet strength was super the whole time. I'm getting 35 megabytes per second upload, and my stream at high def is only requiring 9 megabytes a second to stream. So that's super good. My cache hasn't filled up with anything. So I think we get a lot of those problems solved. Hopefully it lasts. And now I just keep my computer running. We'll do that feed. I gotta get my computer backed out and send it out. And then we'll be back on track for the week after Thanksgiving. But we'll do Monday night. So make sure you tune in to Mr. Leahy's feed, Steve Leahy's feed. It's from 6 to 8, Steve, on Monday. 6 to 8 on Facebook, I believe. I don't think it's on YouTube at that time. It might be on both. Feel free to correct me. And then I will come on at 8 p.m. I don't think I have anything else going on that night, so I'll make sure it's good. I'm going to pour another 2 to maybe 4 finger pour. Not that finger, regular of bourbon, and enjoy my Friday night and enjoy the weekend. I hope you all do too. Thanks for sticking with me through some of the issues we've had in the past week in technical. I think I got it worked out, and I think we're all good to go and keep working. Thanks, everyone. Have an awesome weekend. Thanks for checking it out. Thanks for all the super chats and all the support. And don't forget to sign up as a member at $3 a month. Next week is going to get you, I'm thinking 35% off, maybe 40 for all the members. I'm going to do 40 for all you members off all digital content downloads. And then regular civilians who aren't members, they'll get maybe 25%. That's what I'm thinking. And that'll be a good thank you for all the support. So I'll try to get those vectors out too. So any questions, anything, any recommendations before I put this baby to bed? Speak now or hold your peace till Monday. Or in Facebook chat, or in Messenger, or on posts. Or in all the many forums we all chat in. I'll give it a couple seconds. Definitely hit that like, hit that share. Damn it, and if you're not a member, if you're not a subscriber, it doesn't cost you shit. Like, you still look at analytics, and every YouTuber says the same thing. Like, 50% of viewers and watchers who watch these videos don't subscribe. You can hit subscribe. You don't need to turn notifications on if you don't want to. Just subscribe. It helps the algorithm. I was at 11,499 when I started the feed. I want that 500. It's only one person. So if you're not already subscribed, please do. And I will talk to you all on Monday evening. See ya. I'm out.